Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 220th episode of the Focus TV. Joined as always, got Octavia Wyatt, Cardell Dudley Jr., Raymond Lyons, and we'll be joined in a little while by Keith Archer. Um, he's joining us. We've had him on before, I think, back around NFL draft time, but we'll get to his segment a little bit later. Octavia's going to kick things off with the NFC East. Ray's going to let you know what the Mystics are going through. They're going through a nice little 2 games in 2 days with one of the best teams in the league. So he'll let you guys know a little bit more about that. Cardell will provide you some updates on the Wizards and then Summer League as a whole. I'll let you know what DC United's been up to. It's one of those 3-game weeks. And of course, no show is complete without rapid fire. But Octavia, what's going on in your division this week?
Well, I first want to start by saying, of course, it was the first preseason game happened this past week. And it's just no surprise, although it is preseason. Yes, we know, but it's no surprise that nobody in the NFC East won. I'm just going to say it. Everybody took an L this week in preseason, but again, it's preseason. We know that they have cut the preseason games down from 4 to 3. A lot of starters didn't get, if any time at all. If they did get any playing time, it wasn't significant amount of snaps. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of the people that probably you might not have heard of, you might not hear of again, just depending on what happens with the cut down of the rosters coming up. But I will start with their beloved Washington football team. They played the Patriots and they lost 22-13. Ryan Fitzpatrick did play. He was 5 of 8, 58 yards. Tyler Heineke was 9 of 15 for 86 yards and 1 carry for 4 yards. Steven Montez, 17 of 24, 108 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception, and 1 carry for 14 yards. On the rushing side, Jared Patterson had 10 carries for 40 yards and 4 receptions for 30 yards. Peyton Barber, 6 carries, 20 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 reception for 3 yards. Antonio Gibson had 5 carries for 15 yards, 2 receptions for 14 yards. And Terry McLaurin, 2 receptions, 25 yards. Sammy Reyes, 2 receptions, 25 yards. And Logan Thomas, 1 reception for 24 yards. So again, preseason, obviously Fitzpatrick is going to be the leader in the quarterback room. He will be your starter this year. Tyler Heineke had a solid, showing as well. Looks like he's a lock pretty much to be your backup. So we'll see how that continues to rise for them. Again, one thing I really can only say is Chase Young. I mean, that's pretty much all you have to say. He was able to wrap up Cam Newton, and it looked like a strip sack, but they did go ahead and call it back, and it was ruled a forward pass, so he did not get it. But again, it just shows how dominant he is, even in preseason. And I mean, I'm pretty sure if I was a Washington football fan, I would not want to see him in the remaining of preseason. I think he's good. His motor is going to be high regardless. I want him to be fresh and ready for the season to start. But we all know Chase Young wants to play, so I won't be surprised if I see him going forward. Of course, Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas are going to be the big name wide receivers for them. Wide receiver and tight end, with Logan Thomas. We know Curtis Samuel's still nursing a groin injury. But and then of course they also have Adam Humphries, who also did not play. So they still have a lot to go through. They still have a lot of time to continue to improve. Again, there's still 2 preseason games left, and they're, again, it's preseason. It's hard to really dictate what the team is going to look like because, again, most of the players that play majority of the game are going to be 3rd string, 4th strings, or fighting for a position to be on the team, if not the practice squad. So they're going to have a lot more to go on as the preseason continues. Next up, we did also have Dallas play the Cardinals. They also lost to the Cardinals. Dallas had 16, the Cardinals had 19. Cooper Rush started for them. He didn't start, but Cooper Rush was 7 of 13, 89 yards, 3 carries for 9 yards. Garrett Gilbert, 7 of 16, 80 yards. And Ben DiNucci was 6 of 14, 46 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 carry for 10 yards. Jaquan Hardy, 8 carries for 32 yards. Rico Dowdle, 8 carries, 25 yards, and 1 fumble. Brendan Knox had 5 carries for 19 yards. And on the receiving side, Cedric Wilson had 2 receptions for 40 yards. Reggie Davis had 1 reception for 32 yards. And Brandon Smith had 1 reception for 1 yard and 1 touchdown. again, preseason. We know Dak is not playing. We really didn't get to see a lot of the number ones in this game at all for most of the game. But again, they started off a little bit shaky in the first quarter. It was a little bit sloppy, for lack of a better term. Rico Dowdle also fumbled again, and we know that that's one big scenario for Dallas. We know that, last year Zeke had a lot of issues with holding onto the ball, so we don't want that to continue for anybody else that's going to be looking to play running back for them this year, if you're a Cowboys fan. So right now, their defensive looks good. Again, Michael Parsons, I thought was a great pickup for them, and he's proven everybody right as of now. He's all over the field. He's doing everything you want him to do. He pretty much is playing every down. And again, I love watching Hard Knocks. So just watching the Hard Knocks from last week, when they played the Steelers, and just hearing him how much he wants to play. He's on the phone with Dan Quinn, just like, yeah, can I get another series? He's like, no, you're done. He's like, really? It's like I like that like youthful play about it again. Like you could tell he really wants to play at all times. So it's nice to see, but again, they also are having a little bit of issues as far as injuries. Neville Gallimore looks to be lost for a long stretch after apparently injuring his arm and elbow area. Also, the club lost services of backup left tackle Ty Nashik, wide receiver Malik Turner, and tight ends Sean McKinnon and linebacker Anthony Hines the third. So they have a couple of injuries going on. Luckily for them, it's none of their ones as of now. Gregory was also supposed to suit up and play in this game. He also did not even do that. He actually left the game early. He didn't travel with them. He went back. He left out of Arizona. So apparently it's a foot injury of some sort. So they will be keeping an eye on that. Again, Dak did not play. I don't foresee him playing at all in preseason because they're trying to rest that shoulder. It would be nice to see him get some game time reps. I'm sure they want him to, but I'm sure they're being overly cautious with the shoulder as of now. Next, we had the Giants versus the Jets. Again, Giants lost to the Jets. Jets at 12, Giants at 7. Clayton Thorson was 5 of 16, 72 yards for 1 touchdown. Mike Glennon was 3 of 7 for 20 yards. And Sanjo Plattgummer, 4 carries for 51 yards. Corey Clement, 5 carries, 32 yards, and 1 fumble. CJ Board had 1 carry for 12 yards. David Stills the 5th, 3 receptions for 49 yards. Damian Willis had 1 reception for 21 yards. And Bryson John, 3 receptions for 14 yards. Again, preseason's only 3 games this year. It's apparent that Joe Judge is really treating this as the 4th game, where most of the times you don't see any of the starters in that. He's saying that in the 3rd and final preseason game, more than likely you'll see more starters at that time. Danny Jones did not play. Of course, we're still nursing an injury or coming back off of an injury for Saquon Barkley. And then, of course, they're just still waiting to see how that's going to go for them and if he'll be able to go by week 1. He wants to go, but again, have to make sure he's completely healthy. He is their franchise running back. I would not let him get out there until I know for a fact that he was 150% healthy. But Glennon started off for them. He played pretty much behind the ones as far as the offensive line. It wasn't a terrible game. He was able to hit David Sills for a 37-yard pass down the sideline. I'm sorry, that was actually Clayton Thorson. But again, preseason is really kind of hard to see what's really going to happen going forward. As we get, again, deeper into preseason games, you'll get more of an understanding of who's going to make the team and who's probably not. Although Corey Clement, former Eagle, I'll throw that out there, he got some good reps in as well, looking to be the number 2 behind Saquon Barkley. But I'm sure having a fumble on his resume is not going to bode well for his opportunities. So he'll have to clean that up. And last but not least, Eagles versus the Steelers. Eagles lost to the Steelers. I don't even know the score. That's how bad it was. It was just bad. Just know that. So they lost that game. There we go. 24-16. Excuse me. So Again, a lot of number twos and one and threes and fours playing, but Joe Flacco was 10 of 17, 178 yards for one touchdown. Jalen Hurts was 3 of 7 for 54 yards, one carry for 4 yards, and Nick Mullins was 1 of 5, 4 yards, 2 interceptions. Jason Huntley had 4 carries for 15 yards. Kenneth Gainwell, 2 carries for 14 yards. Kerryon Johnson had 2 carries for 12 yards. Quez Watkins, 1 reception, 79 yards, and 1 touchdown. Dallas Goedert had 1 reception for 34 yards. And Tyree Jackson had 2 receptions for 20 yards. The ones really only got about 2 to 3 series in the game. I think Jalen looked good in the beginning. He was looked pretty poised. You can tell that he's looking to throw the ball. Again, he ended with a stat line of 3 of 7. It really should be 5 of 7. We had 2 drops. Zach Ertz dropped one as well as Quez that was right out the reach of his fingertips. So all in all, it was a good showing by the ones. Again, still don't know if Zach Ertz is going to be on the roster as the season gets ready to start. Right now, it's looking more so that he will be. He did get a lot of reps in this game as far as, being a number one. He got more than what you would think he would have gotten. But as the game continued, you could see that the 3 and the 4s were not it at that moment. I don't know if it was the big lights, the first game, if they were just tired, because the 1s and the 2s started off really, really good, and then it just faded away as time went on. One good thing about it is Jake Elliott hit 3 free field goals from 47 yards plus, 2 47-yarders, and I think the other one was 50-yarders. So good showing for him there. He had a rough year last year, but of course he has a big leg, so he should be able to do that. I was impressed with Kenneth Gainwell. I like him as a backup, but Jordan Howard got the start. We didn't see Miles Sanders. Again, Devontae Smith did not suit up. He's just now getting back on 7-on-7s in training camp today. So he may get a few reps this week coming up, but I'm sure that they're also looking to make sure that they put his health completely first, because right now he is the franchise as well. But that's about it that's happened in the NFC East as far as in your preseason. Next week we'll have more games. Hopefully we'll have more number ones in, and we'll have more information.
Look forward to it. I'm ready for preseason to be over, but it's a process to get there eventually. I'm gonna pass this along to Keith Archer for his college football segment. In debut, they'll be previewing the Pac-12. That'll be followed by our first break of the night. And when we return, we're gonna talk to Ray about what the Mystics have ahead of them later this evening.
I am Keith Archer, a freshman at Arizona State University studying sports journalism at the Walter Cronkite School. Today I'm going to be giving a preview on the Pac-12 and most all of the teams in it. First, I'm going to start out with Arizona State and the quarterback that they have in Jayden Daniels. He comes out at 6'3", 175 pounds. He is now a junior who is eligible to come into next year's draft. Jayden Daniels, I've watched a lot of college football in all my time being alive, and Jayden Daniels, he provides something else that many quarterbacks cannot. His arm, although it's good but not great, it still gets the job done. It gets the ball where it needs to be. He has amazing pocket presence and is able, with being 6'3", he's able to maneuver his way and bounce off linemen to avoid sacks. Once he gets on the run, that's when it begins. He is so good on the run. Once a play breaks down, he extends plays like most college quarterbacks aren't, and he's been doing nothing but excelling as his years have come. He's learning a lot from Herm Edwards, and he provides great leadership for this team coming for this upcoming year. He is a potential first-round pick, and if he continues to do what he's been doing, he will for sure land there. We're going to focus on Arizona, who has Gunnar Cruz, who's a former Washington State quarterback. They are going through a quarterback battle in camp and preseason while everything is getting learned out in the beginning. He's going through that, but I believe he'll win that job and try and get Arizona back on their feet, as they lost their former running back Gary Brightwell in this year's past draft to the New York Giants. Colorado. They came 3-1 in division last year and lost in the Alamo Bowl versus Texas. They fell short, but they look to bounce back and fight again this year. UCLA has quarterback Dorian Thompson Robinson, who is a senior who is mobile with a strong arm. Despite being 6'1", he has long arms, which can provide help because you got guys who are shorter like Kyler Murray who coming out the word is that they can't get the ball over the lineman or anything like that. With having long arms, he's able to get the ball over the lineman, and he's also mobile, which helps the fact that if he can't see, he can always avoid pressure, get around it, and get to the outside. He is going to go into this year's draft. Now, despite not being a first-round pick, he will 100% get drafted despite any injuries. He can surprise a lot of people this year. When I tell you, he has done nothing but excel in all of his years at playing college football, and I don't not trust that he can continue that stride and become one of the better quarterbacks in this year's draft. Quarterback Jayden Slavis at USC is scary accurate and has been said to almost be, if not the best, one of the best quarterbacks in this year's class because of just strictly off his accuracy. He's very mobile, or not very mobile, but very accurate, and he has a great pocket presence. Now, despite not being mobile, he can deliver the ball exactly where it needs to be. And, when you have quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, all guys who can maneuver around the pocket in the NFL and are setting the way for what quarterbacks should look like, Jayden Slavis reminds you that there's quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Peyton Manning who relied on accuracy to get the job done, and that he's proving that he can deliver that ball wherever it needs to be, whenever it needs to be. Utah has Charlie Brewer, former Baylor transfer. He's a senior now who looks to put Utah back on their feet as they've struggled in recent years, and he is also going through a quarterback battle in camp, but I do believe he will win that one as well, such as Gunnar Cruz and for the Wildcats. And that is the South Division of the Pac-12. Now we're going to focus on the North Division of the Pac-12. You have Cal, who is looking to dominate as usual, but I feel as though they may take a step back this year due to lingering injuries and struggles in camp. Oregon lost their left tackle and Penei Sewell in this year's draft, which surprisingly will impact them a lot more than most people will come to believe. A left tackle is not something that you can just very easily pick up on, especially one of his caliber. He is said to be a generational talent, as we will see if he pans out in the NFL, but I believe that'll bring them a step back, not having that generational talent as a left tackle this year. Oregon State looks to improve this year as they did in between last year. It wasn't too high, it wasn't too low, but they look to bring back the old Oregon State football and dominate against their rivals, Oregon. Stanford looks to bring in a few good freshmen and take a step forward this year in the Pac-12 and not just be one of those teams. Stanford has been a pretty good team in past years, but as of recent, they have been on the decline. They look to get back to that. And Washington and Washington State both are having quarterback controversy battles, and they both look to avoid those and get to the forefront of their division in the Pac-12 and become one of the bigger names in their North Division in the Pac-12, so that they can cause some disruption and start getting that program back on track.
Welcome back to the Focus TV, and thank you for knocking out this week's Pac-12 preview. Ray, what's going on with the Mystics, man?
Yeah, the Mystics, they're back in action tonight against Las Vegas Aces, who they played on Sunday and lost to nail biter 84-83. It was their first game after the Olympic break, and they were pretty much in control through three quarters. The fourth quarter, man, the Aces just laid hands on them. They held them to 14 points, outscored them 29-14 in the quarter. You know, the Aces were down 21 at one point, but a source of their comeback was the Mystics, fouling them and putting them on the free throw line. And the Aces were able to find their footing and claw their way back into the game. The easiest way to come back from a large deficit is to score from the free throw line while the clock is stopped. You kind of get yourself into a rhythm. You see the ball go through the basket, and the Aces were able to regroup and close the game out. I mean, right now they're the number one team in the WNBA, so they don't lack talent over there. But and this is and we talked about it on Mystics Outlook on Sunday. This is a game that the Mystics should have won. They're not lacking for talent themselves, and they were up by 21 points throughout the game. They started off clicking on all cylinders. Tina had a big first half, but in the second half, the Aces came out and were more determined to get the ball out of her hands and double her and make her make decisions. Ariel Atkins started waking up, and they were still able to extend the lead and control the game throughout the third quarter. But in the fourth quarter, Liz Cambage, and she just started dominating. And then Asia Wilson and Chelsea Gray kind of closed things out. Chelsea Gray made two consecutive plays in the waning moments of the game, hit Asia on the pick and pop with a nice pocket pass. Asia hit the jumper. Then, in the last possession of the game, Chelsea Gray got a switch. Tina Charles didn't hedge out, and she was able to hit the elbow jumper, put them up one, and get the win. So, in the post game, Coach Tebow, he talked about the undisciplined play on defense and the fouling, and said, that's definitely something that they got to clean up. And they get a chance, another crack at it tonight. Vegas, they're probably gonna come out with a vengeance based on the way the Mystics started the last game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't want to be playing from behind at any point. So they're going to try to get off to a little better start. The Mystics, man, they just got to stick to what works. And then on the defensive end, they got to keep their hands to themselves, man. Just, move your feet and trust your teammates, because that's part of the Aces identity, man. They get to the line, they punish people on the inside, and they make their free throws. So you definitely don't want to help them out by committing useless and silly fouls. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see you guys later on after the game for Mystics Outlook. Hopefully it's something good to talk about. But they're back in the swing of things. They play Phoenix, and then they play Phoenix away, then Seattle away, and then they got a nice little home stretch to close the month out. So hopefully they can gain some momentum and work their way up the standings, because these are the dog days right here, and they got to make up some ground for the first half of the season.
This is all true, and like you said, we'll be around later tonight, which might be early tomorrow morning. Gotta love West Coast start times, 10 p.m. Is when that game begins. So we'll be around after that for Mystics Outlook, let you guys know what happened in the post game, and then share our respective thoughts on it. Being Raymond, Cardell, and myself. We're gonna take our second break. When we get back, Washington Wizards and then this league as a whole. They did end up playing 4 games, which Cardell's gonna let you guys know about. We found that out, like most of you, that day. So we're gonna take our second break. We'll be right back. You're watching the Focus TV. Welcome back to the Focus TV. As promised, Cardell Dudley Jr. is going to let you know what's happened with the Wizards in Summer League play and, Summer League as a whole, because, it was fun, depending on just period. Some of these been fun. I know Cardell, Raymond, myself, little chat been talking about how exciting it's been watching this crop of rookies come in. It's been refreshing, to be honest, and we hope it all continues. Just the mentality that they've brought continues on into the regular season. But Cardell, the floor is yours.
Yeah, as Summer League, as we know, winds down tonight. I'm gonna start with the Washington Wizards and just kind of recap their last game and just overall summary throughout Summer League. The Wizards fell last night, and Summer League played to the Indiana Pacers 74-65, dropping to 1-3 in Summer League play. The Pacers jumped out on Washington 20-11. After the first quarter, led by Cassius Stanley's quick start. And the Pacers were never really threatened afterwards. Washington's offense, once again, struggled to have any rhythm, shooting 34% from the field and 20% from deep. Meanwhile, they turned it over 21 times, which has been an issue pretty much in every game throughout Summer League. They missed Cassius Winston dearly. They really didn't have a floor general to get them in the flow, get them in on offense, and keep them there. So that's what you get. Isaiah Todd led the way with 11 points to 6 rebounds, even though he didn't have the best shooting night. Khalid Holmesley and Xavier Raylan-Mayes both added 9 points respectively for the Wizards. As I said about Cassius Stanley, he finished with the game high 19 points, 7 rebounds, and he added two assists on 70% shooting from the field. That just tells you a lot about the resistance that the Wizards gave him as well. So they fell to 1-3. That wraps up their Summer League. We'll see who gets an invite to training camp and try to plead their case. We all know Kisper's going to be there, being their first-round pick. Todd will probably be there. They interviewed the Go-Go's GM during one of the Summer League games. Like I think the Summer League game prior to the game against the Pacers, and they're looking more. Even though he feels he's ready to contribute to the Wizards right now, it sounds like he's going to see some time in the G League as he tries to develop, man. So based on what we saw Summer League, he would need it. He would need a rep. So we'll see how it goes. But hey, maybe he comes on strong in training camp. We'll see that. And also just to close things out for tonight in Summer League, at 9 p.m. tonight, the Sacramento Kings and Boston Celtics will square off in the Summer League Championship. I want people out there to definitely keep an eye on the point guard matchup between the Celtics second-year point guard Peyton Pritchard, who has been torching the world over the last week, literally, and Kings rookie Davion Mitchell, who's one of the best defensive guards probably already in the league. So that's going to be a nice little match there for the championship. So it should be highly entertaining. And just to close out Summer League, just a few notes of standouts that I noticed from watching, throughout Summer League play that wasn't the Wizards. Obviously, Cam Thomas, local product out of Virginia, came out and played the Boo Williams at Oak Hill, Brooklyn Nets rookie. He led the Summer League in scoring, averaging 27 points a game on 36% shooting from deep and 84% shooting from the line. He's what I keep saying, professional scorer. He ever since watching him develop, as a prep at the grassroots level, he always reminded me of Lou Williams. You know what I mean? Just one of those guys, that combo guards that could just put the ball in the basket any way possible, man. He just has that knack, man. And once he understands how to run a team to go with that, it's going to be hell. You know what I mean? Because you don't know when he's attacking, and you don't know when he's finding people. Kind of how Lou Williams developed over time in the league, man. So, and obviously the team he's on, he has a lot of players he can learn from to learn all the tricks of the trade. So, his ability will be enhanced as his understanding grows, man. So, definitely keep an eye on him. Jayla Smith, second-year forward out of Phoenix. He averaged 16.3 points and the Summer League leading 12.5 rebounds on 35% shooting from the field. From the field. No, 35% shooting from deep and 81% shooting from the line. That's another guy that they're hoping to develop in the season. Obviously, the Suns made a championship run. Darius Saric, he unfortunately tore his ACL, in the playoffs, so it's hard to imagine him being back. So, I anticipate seeing a lot of Jaylen Smith. That's why they had him playing reps. So he definitely honestly should. I ain't even going to add may, and he should have a role with the Suns as they try to get back to the championship and, make some noise that way. I just spoke on Peyton Pritchard, Boston Celtics second-year guard. He's averaging 20.3 points, 8.7 assists, 5.7 rebounds, and 2 steals on 51% shooting from the field, 57% shooting from deep, and 88% shooting from the line. The stat line speaks for itself. He and then obviously on days off, he's going back to his hometown, dropping 92 points. So this summer has been great for him. He's been torching anybody that gets in front of him, man. So, and that's why I'm excited to see the championship game tonight, man. Because Davion Mitchell, he's one of those guys that take defense serious, and I'm pretty sure he's like he ain't about to have all that. So it should be a fun matchup. Obi Toppin, Knicks forward, averaging 21 points, 8.3 rebounds, so 44% shooting from the field, nearly 35% shooting from deep, 88% shooting from the line. I just think he needed a year to get his bearings and understand where he is in the league, and you kind of see that coming to fruition in some league. He did his thing, and just especially in the pick and roll game with his athleticism and ability to shoot the ball is just, I mean, it's hard for bigs to deal with him either way, so he's always gonna have a mismatch no matter what. So it's just a matter of him understanding what he is and how he can exploit mismatches, and I think he's starting to get a feel for that. So, I expect him to increase his play. When the regular season start. Jaylen Green, we talked about him a lot in the G League bubble, rookie with the Rockets. Averaged 20.3 points, 4.3 rebounds, 2 assists on a ridiculous 51% shooting from the field, 52% shooting from three, and 92% shooting from the charity stripe. To be that young and just torching established pros, guys that played overseas, had years in the league, stats in the league. It just tells you about this kid's ability, and that's why he was drafted number 2 in the draft, man. He has the tools to be one of the top wings in the league if he keeps working. You know what I mean? So he did what he was expected to do. Bones Highland's another one. The Denver Nuggets guard, rookie, obviously a rookie. He averaged 19.8 points, 4.8 assists, 3.3 rebounds on 46% shooting from the field, 40% shooting from deep, and 76% shooting from the line. He's another one of those dynamic scorers, man, with his length. I know he, measured in about 6'3", 6'4", but with his length, man, he plays much bigger than what he is, man. His athleticism, and he's just a dog. Like he, saw a lot of him at BCU, obviously covering GW. So he's another one of those professional scorers. But the difference is, I think he's a little better also running the team and getting in that flow. And that's just for having more seasoning, being in college and whatnot. And that comes with it. But, man, and you can tell he has a passion for the game. So the Nuggets definitely drafting another one. And obviously with Will Barton coming back, man, Jamal Murray coming back healthy, man, that's just added depth where when they go to the bench, they got somebody that they, drafted to hopefully count on to come in and keep things flowing offensively from outside when Jamal Murray needs a break and those guys. So I know he's up for the task, man. He's been talking about it throughout summer league. So, much respect to him. Cade Cunningham, the number 1 pick, definitely did his thing. Averaged 18.7 points, 5.7 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 1.7 steals, on 50% shooting from three. These kids coming in torching from three, man. It's just crazy, man. So, he did his thing. You expect him to be a versatile centerpiece. I know there's a lot of comparisons to Luka. I'm not going to go there first. He has to, do some damage first, but I get it because of his size and skill set and the fact that neither one of them are, top tier athletes or whatnot. They have to kind of, be crafty and savvy to make plays. And that is a good guy for him to study, because he does have a great feel and can do everything that there is to do offensively. So I'm excited to see how he meshed with the Pistons squad once he gets in the training camp or whatnot. But this is a strong start. He did his thing, in summer league. Luka Garza, a second-round pick for the Pistons. Forward sent out of Iowa, obviously a local product out of Murray. Played for Team Takeover. Averaged 15 points, 9.6 rebounds, and 52% shooting from the field, 40% shooting from deep, and just under 80% from the line. With his production, he earned a two-way deal. He went from being a second round, you don't know if you're going to get something out the deal, to, doing damage in summer league. Now he has a two-way deal. So he will be back and forth. We've seen him in the, G League, and then he'll be back up before from, with the main team, with the Pistons, depending on how you work, man. His motor, he just outworks guys. That's what separates him. So, I could easily see him having a couple big nights during the season, during the dog, when the guys don't really want to play back-to-backs, and he going to murder them because he's still trying to establish himself. So, I'm just happy for the kid, man. He worked hard. He earned his spot, and he made the best of a situation. That's all you're asking for as a player. Just give me an opportunity, and I'll handle the rest. So congrats to him. And last but not least, Walter from Indiana Pacers, guard, averaged 18.3 points, 4 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 2.5 steals, and 1.8 blocks on 45% shooting from the field, 48% shooting from deep, and was 100% from the line. Didn't miss not one free throw, man. And two-way, that's what you get with him. And this is why a lot of people were excited for him to, coming out of Oregon, getting drafted by the Pacers. And obviously, a JUCO alum, I root for JUCO guys because I understand with the grind you got to go through to elevate. And he's done that, being player of the year JUCO, going to Oregon, being Pac-12 player of the year. And now, I mean, he's hit the ground running with the Pacers, man, and getting it done on both ends already. Like normally it's one side of the ball where rookies kind of excel, and he's showing he could do it all. And Malcolm Brogdon, those guys, man, I'm excited to see how he fits. He looked, obviously being a little bit older, being about 24 years old, he looks to be ready to go. He looks to be more advanced as far as his maturity and IQ and feel for the game. So, I definitely can see him doing damage right away in the league.
All right, moving on to DC United. It was one of those weeks for them, like I mentioned earlier. 3 games in the week. That started Sunday. They lost on the road in Nashville, 5-2. It was a big opportunity loss for DC United, for sure. Had they won, they would have moved above Nashville in the standings if they had gotten the 3 points. Instead, they remained in 6th with the loss, snapping a 5-game unbeaten streak. The visiting Black and Red got on board early when Frederick Beyond scored off a corner kick. It was a really nice goal from him. But CJ Sapong, who apparently has a thing for playing DC United, he spent some time in his life here in the DMV area, so every time he sees him, this scores as a nice gentle reminder. Apparently, things got worse for the. Sorry about that. So as I was saying about Sapong, he scored twice in the 28 minutes after DC United went up 1-0. Then Ola Kamara responded. Before the half, Nashville let the break 3-2. Things didn't really get better for DC United in the second half. Alex Moe recorded a brace during the 80th minute and 87th minute on a penalty kick. There's not a lot of time for DC United to really dwell on the loss. Again, it's 3 games in a week. So that's Sunday. They play tomorrow night, and then they are back home on Saturday night. But tomorrow, they're taking on this team atop the Eastern Conference table, New England. So they got to deal with that, see if they can leave New England with at least a point, if not all 3. Then come home and host Atlanta United on Saturday. Big picture for DC United is this week is not the end. It's not going to be the end all be all. This week doesn't necessarily go as planned. They're in 6th at the moment. They've been pretty solid at home. It would be great again for them to steal at least a point, on the road tomorrow. But it was a tough loss. It's probably might have been. It's sports, man. Sometimes you just have one of those games. And credit to Nashville, obviously. They've been playing really good at home as well. But it's really tough, man. 3 games. It's not even a full 7 days. So they got to get through that, and we'll see what happens. I'll be back next week to let you know how they do against New England and Atlanta. That's like the 2 weeks ago. They had 3 games in a week, so they're going through it right over there at the moment. Coach Lasada's been preaching the importance of the collective. They're also one of the teams where they really mean it. It's one thing that we like to say it. That whole cliche strength in numbers. It's one thing to say it. It's another thing when you mean it. They've had 26 different starting lineups. They've had days they've had 3 people on the bench, 5 people. Sometimes they've had a full bench. Going through it as a whole, and we'll see what happens this week. But I definitely expect them to bounce back from what was kind of a poor showing on Sunday night. All right, Cardell, we got some time left, man. What you got for us? Some rapid fire.
All right, start on the NFL side of things. The Seattle Seahawks signed Jamal Adams to a 4-year extension with a maximum value of $72 million, making him the highest paid safety in history. Adams deal has Max value obviously is $72 million, a $20 million signing bonus, and includes $38 million guaranteed via agents Cameron Conner and Robert Brown on Universal Sports. Adams was a first-team All-Pro selection in 2019 and has been named to the Pro Bowl in each of the past 3 seasons. He set the league single-season record for sacks by a defensive back last season with 9.5. That figure led the team, as did his 14 tackles for loss and his 30 pressures. He missed 4 games with a groin injury and played through injuries to both shoulders, including a torn labrum that needed surgery, 2 broken fingers, which also needed surgery, and a hyperextended elbow. What do y'all think of the signing and him, being the highest paid safety in history? We'll start with you, Octavia.
I feel like it's always the same for me when it comes down to these big signings. Like, if they feel like they deserve it, more power to them. Especially for Jamal Adams, I feel like he's been a little bit more vocal than some of the other ones. Like, he's basically kind of put it out there like he feels like he's the best and he feels like he deserves it. So now that he has it, it's time for him to continue to do what he's been doing and not to regress in any type of way. I know you can't help injuries and things of that sort, but it's time for his, like, now you got what you've been talking about this whole time. So I'm just, really ready to see him, if he's going to be able to continue to live up to what he's done already in the past, because we know what he's capable of. But it's always something about when you finally get that contract that you've been talking about for so long, where, that's when everybody's really, really looking deep at you. And again, he's resetting the market for them again. So it's going to be interesting to see, how he moves this season, and I'm sure that they won the championship. It's been a while out there in Seattle, so I feel like if they believe in him like that, and they're gonna lock him in for that amount of money, I'm sure that that's on their mind. I'm sure Russell, some of it went towards his offensive line, but you know how that goes. So,
all right, Ray.
Yeah, I mean, congrats for getting that bag. I was a little surprised that they threw that much at him. Like Octavia said, their protection has been a thing for them, recently. But I mean, talent wise, I don't think there's a doubt that Adams is worth the money. His injury history is slightly concerning, but again, I feel like if they didn't think it was manageable, then they wouldn't have given him that contract. But I mean, yeah, now he just got to continue to play great football. I wish him the best. And yeah, guys talk their way into a big contract like this and put a lot of attention on themselves. And I feel like he believes he can live up to those pressure and those standards. So now he's gotten what he's wanted, and all he's got to do is play football, which should be the easy part. But we know how things go. Hopefully he can stay healthy. I feel like if he's going to be on the field, then there's no doubt that he's going to produce. Because he's proven that. But yeah, man, Seattle's whole thing has been this. When they kind of resurged, the Legion of Boom was a thing. And hopefully he can he can bring some consistency back to that defense, and just kind of lead them. But yeah, man, I'm never against a guy getting paid. It is what it is at this point. They signed on the dotted line, and I hope he has a good season out there.
Wilson.
It's to be expected. This is the other part of why you traded for him. You gave up, what was it, 2 firsts for him, or was it? I think they gave up 2 firsts for him, if I remember correctly. Both them and the Rams gave up multiple first-round picks when they went to go get, those premier pieces in the secondary. One being Jalen Ramsey for the Rams. For Seattle, it was Jamal Adams. The other thing with him, I mean, if you're Seattle, no disrespect, with him kind of being your best pass rusher, you can't really argue with the man. So you're going to have to find that bread anyways. And also, how could you really let him go after spending that capital? He's still young enough. Also, it's NFL. We don't know how much of that money he's actually going to see. But, yeah, it's just a no-brainer. I fully expected it. I didn't care what they were talking about before. Like, you can't afford to not pay Jamal Adams when you can't afford a good defensive line and a good offensive line. So, then it's Jamal Adams. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with y'all, man. He makes too many plays. He does too much, man. You know, his versatility from the safety position is just ridiculous. Hell, you know, I'd have gladly love him on my Broncos. You know what I'm saying? You know, it is
Yeah,
in
let
a
him stay out
heartbeat.
there in the
You
West.
know, and just another thing, you know, we see all the time, oftentimes with the NFL, guys produce and they don't pay them. You know what I mean? And that's just sickening to me. You know, what more you gotta do? So I'm definitely happy when the guy produces and get his money. And you know, even with the injury history, I get it, but his style is ultra physical, and I love it. You know what I mean? Like he come in there, blast a 300-pound offensive lineman, knock them back, and then make the play consistently throughout the game. So he's going to get banged up, but you live with it. You know what I mean? Because he makes plays. You know what I mean? He's just not out there being reckless, just like a crash test dummy, just running all around, hitting people, and then just getting hit. You know, and you need that, man. You need somebody to get stopped, especially in that division. You know what I'm saying? It's not sweet. So, you know, I'm happy he got it. You know, he got his bag. He deserves it. Uh, Next question. Oh boy, this should be fun. NBA owners collectively and the players union like the format which generated revenue for both sides to split. So the play-in tournament will return next season as the league shifts back from a 72 game schedule to a full 82. VM obviously quote via TMZ, they said they spoke with Commissioner Adam Silver out of NYC this week, and he said he personally spoke with LeBron James about the tournament, and and he sounded like things are all good. Silver said we talked about it. I think at the end of the day, I understand, especially if you went deep last year and you have that many sort of games on your legs. You're not looking forward to more games, but I think he understands the context of the league. So I think we wanted to get one more season on our belt that wasn't a pandemic season, so we could really get a sense of how it works. But I'm more open to tinkering with it if necessary. Just what are your thoughts on obviously the play-in game returning and the fact that Adam Silver had to consult certain players, before moving forward. We'll start with you, Ray.
I mean, I'm not a fan of the play-in. I mean, if 82 games ain't enough to decide whether you should be in the playoffs or not, then maybe you shouldn't be in. But I mean, on the flip side, it did make for some exciting games last year. So, I'm not the one that has to make those decisions. I really don't care that much one way or the other. I'm going to watch anyway. I would like to congratulate LeBron on his new position as president of the Players Association because, because obviously that's what happened since, he was the one that talked to Adam Silver. So, congrats on that. Another notch on his stellar career resume. But yeah, I don't understand the need to consult with him. I mean, I do, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But he seems to not know whether he wants to play in or not because in 2020 he was in favor of it, but last season when he had to participate, he wasn't. So I don't know why you would consult somebody that doesn't even know where they stand on the topic to begin with. But hey, man, do your thing, Adam Silver. But yeah, like I said, it's whatever to me. It does kind of suck, for them for those people that got one of those top 8 spots and still gotta deal with that. But if you don't want to do it, get one of the top 6. So that's on them. Win enough games where you don't even got to worry about it. So yeah, I'm not in that position. I'm just going to be sitting at home watching. So I'll let the people that get paid to deal with that deal with it.
Russell Wilson.
We're racing, man. It's fine. It's cool. We know sports is coming off of a pandemic too. We get it. The play-in, it's business, right? It's here for business purposes. We're fine with it. We get it. Whether that individual in particular, how he feels about it. Look, man, get a top 6 spot and everything's fine. That's all I have. It's here. If it stays, it stays. If it goes, it goes. If it goes, you're safe. Get a top 8 spot. If it stays, Make it like soccer, get above the imaginary line. It's just not that difficult. If you're in below the line, I don't want to hear about it.
Octavia.
I mean, I definitely think it's ridiculous that Adam Silver decided to consult LeBron James. And then, I mean, even more insults and injury. Like, again, yes, we joke that, he's the NBA Players League Association president, but there's actually a new one now. So you would think, like, if you're going to consult anybody, you would go ahead and consult CJ McCollum, who just took over for CP3. But hey, maybe not. But yeah, I mean, I'm on the same way. Like, I could care less either way. I get both sides of it. I get why players complain, and I get why the owners and the league want to do it. It's going to generate more buzz. It's going to generate more storylines. It's going to give them more revenue. And again, the people that, as far as players that don't like it, just don't want to be in it. If it doesn't come down to where they have to worry about it, they don't care one way or the other either. They just don't want to have to play extra games, and they don't want to be on the bubble where then they can, might not make the playoffs. So again, I'm fine either way. In the beginning, I didn't really like it, but then I did like it a little bit just because I do feel like it does have more competitive play at the end of the season. Because I feel like, once you get to a certain point in the season, like nobody's playing anymore. Everybody's content with where they are in the standings. So I like that aspect of it. But again, I honestly could care either way. But I think it's ridiculous that Adam Silver decided to, I guess, consult LeBron James. Like David Stern would never. Like what?
No. My take on it is it forces you to play. I mean, let's call it what it is. It forces teams to have to play throughout the season because if you sit guys, especially late in the season, key games, those couple of L's may come back to bite you. So you got to be worried. And that's why I think they're keeping it in. For the most part, like Wilson said, it's simple. You won enough games, you ain't got to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? As for the guy out in LA, man, this the part that makes it harder to rock with him completely. His game is, his game speaks for itself, but when it benefited him, he was all in. But when it didn't, when it was a hassle, he's against it. So it's just that, the narratives and stuff like that, that just irritate my soul, man. It's just, at the end of the day, it's basketball. This your job. Y'all can't, and they don't look at the bread, but it's hard not to. Y'all well off, especially with the pandemic where so many people took L's, lost jobs, and you coming off that, y'all didn't take a L. Hell, even the owners took a L. You know what I'm saying? They had more than enough to give to make sure y'all still play. So this is what this for. It shouldn't even have to be that way. We shouldn't even have to have a playing game that make guys have to play. It's your job. You know what I'm saying? Everybody claim they love the game, until it gets rough. Then it's when I need rest and all that stuff like that. So, it is what it is, man. It's here. So it's simple. Just win. Compete and win and you'll be fine. And what I'm saying? We got to touch on it. I know y'all was talking about it kind of, before the show started. Tebow. Tight end experiment in Jacksonville has come to an end. Tebow was released by the Jaguars today, ending a very brief return to football, likely ending his NFL career. He said he's thankful for the highs and even the lows, the opportunities and the setbacks. He said, I never wanted to make a decision out of fear of failure, and I'm grateful for the chance to pursue the dream. Thank you to the Jaguars organization and everyone who supported me in this journey. Wilson, Tim Tebow, being released by Jacksonville, you have room on your 49ers?
So unfortunately, we're stacked at tight end. And shout out to my man George Kittle for now allowing that man access to tight end you. He tried it and was denied. It was for real ends only. So shout out to George Kittle being real. Somebody else might have been under that pressure. Shout out to him and Travis Kelce for not allowing that nonsense inside their very, very, very sacred gathering of actual tight ends that deserve opportunities. Like, I'm happy it's over. It was dumb to begin with. That could have been somebody's opportunity, man. Like, you really had that man go out there and waste people's time. And if somebody else, I hope somebody else that was passed over for this opportunity ends up on somebody else's roster in that division, and Jacksonville has to deal with it. Because that was just, to me, that's just trash. Like, you already got one less preseason game, right? So for those folks, nobody really pays attention and cares about the folks on the fringes in the NFL, like in NBA, even if you're on the fringes, it's guaranteed money. Like even if it's a little bit, it's guaranteed. NFL, like the big money is not even guaranteed. So what do you think it's like for the folks on the fringes? And you really deny someone that actual opportunity. My man was broadcasting. Like, let him go do that. It's fine. SEC football is almost back. I think that's where he was. Send him right back. He should have never left. And that's why I wasn't a fan of Urban being hired. Like, we all knew it was going to be some type of shenanigans here. But that's another story for another day. But y'all got it, Jacksonville. And I wish Trevor Lawrence, just know I'm praying for you, man. I wish you the best.
I say,
Yeah, I mean, I like I said when we were off air, like I literally let out like a good hearty laugh like from my diaphragm when it came across the screen that he'd been released, because again, I just thought it was crazy from the beginning. Like Wilson said, like he took away opportunity for somebody who's literally been still training. Yes, there's a lot of quarterbacks that have moved to tight ends. You know, I actually have one on my team. He's never played tight end before. He's moving from a quarterback to a tight end, but he's in the midst of it. Like he's not 5-6 years removed from the NFL or from college at that. I just thought again it was just a blatant disrespect to anybody that was already in the running for that position on that team. Again, I just felt like it was like a publicity stunt, really. You know, it's just like, oh yeah, it's Tebow. You know, we have the whole Florida connection and everything. Let's go ahead and get it in, when he should have just stayed where he was. I don't know if he has a job to go back to now. Again, if he does, that's even more privilege. The fact that they would hold this position for him in case he got released, which, I mean, in all actuality, we all should have known that was going to happen. If you've seen any of the players from the preseason game, he can't block. So if you can't block as a tight end, I don't know what you're doing. So again, I just thought it was so crazy that was even a story, that was even a thing to think of, to happen. And I feel bad for all those who bought Tebow jerseys. Congratulations.
right.
Yeah, good riddance, bro. I mean, like, why was he even there to begin with? You know, nothing against him, but that was ridiculous, man. Whoever let that go down, that was stupid. Like Octavia said, man, he hadn't even been playing for the last 6 years, and then he's going to try to play a position he never played before. What was the purpose? You know, if you wanted him involved, make him a coach or something. But you know, and then like you guys said, to take that opportunity from somebody where you knew it wasn't going to work out. Like these are seasoned professionals we're dealing with. Nobody expected him to make that team. At least I hope they didn't. You know, and if they did, then they need to reevaluate who they got running that franchise down there. I mean, they need to do that anyway. But yeah, that I'm glad it's done. You know, I don't know how many dreams they're gonna let Tim Tebow get. He probably going to try to play hockey next. But yeah, man, glad this NFL thing is done with. Leave us alone, Tim Tebow.
Yeah, he should just stay commentating football, college football. He excelled at that. You know, he's one of the all-time greats at that. It made sense. To me, it's just embarrassing. You know what I mean? And you know, it kind of just proves the state of that franchise right now at this current stage. It's a joke. You know what I'm saying? And it was disrespectful to all the other football players, man. Like football, look, man, if you take years off and just try to play pickup, it's hard. And you trying to play at the highest level and change positions at that. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. This was set up for failure, man. I see Urban trying to look up, but dog, look out in a different way, man. Get him in the front office or something, man. Yeah, there you go, Rodney. Even the baseball thing. What happened with that, dog? It's just, and I'm not even like, hey, like I'm one of the people that's like, yeah, go for it, but it has to be something serious. Like you've been putting in work to try to achieve this, where it's like, okay, you're not far from it. You know what I mean? You can't just be removed and then come from the booth. You know, you basically a fan now. You are, yeah. You could play then back at a certain point, but when you don't play over time, your skills diminish. You know, your body, like especially football, man. I mean, I saw the plays, man. My man couldn't even block. Like, Come on, man. I mean, that's how you know you're done, man. I watched you play quarterback, and all you could do was run and stiff on dudes, and you can't use your hands to keep a dude at bay for a split second for the running back to get open. Like, you see what I'm saying? Man, look, dog, it was, hey, man, it was embarrassing, man. You know what I'm saying? And you know, like Wilson said, man, praise because yeah, there's gonna be some angry dudes looking for payback from that, John. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they got cut by the Jaguars as well, end up on other teams, they get a chance to see them and play against them. Yeah, it's gonna be get back time just for that. Especially if he was a tight end, man. It was like, come on, dog.
Mm-hmm.
He getting reps in the game and stuff, like he can't even block. He shouldn't even have been in the game. Like he took reps from somebody that earned it. Man, it was like I said, it was just disrespectful.
Trevor Lawrence just downgraded from Clemson to the Jags. Let that sink in. But I want to thank y'all for hanging out with us tonight. It's always good to be here with y'all. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Don't forget to go over to DCTV to watch the show on Friday nights at 10 p.m. And also go over to dctv.org so you can see when the show re-airs on Saturday and Sunday as well. Get over to focustv.com. And for Mystics fans, we'll see you later this evening and possibly tomorrow morning, depending on what side of the clock things end on later for Mystics Outlook. So y'all have a great evening, and we'll catch up with you guys soon.